have spoken of the American century. I say that the century on which we are entering can be and must be the century of the common man.
A radical redistribution of economic power.
I mean, we know that racism is just a byproduct of capitalism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people.
We need a government that will make sure Americans are taken care of and organize the economy to serve the people, not the profits of a wealthy few.
We now have the techniques and the resources to get rid of poverty.
We got to start getting out there with the people.
Get out of the movement and get to the masses.
We need a government of action.
Revolutionaries are a lot like dentists. There's a small minority of people that ever since they were kids, you know, they were playing with the doll's teeth and they read all about teeth and were obsessed with teeth. But for most of us, we really don't want anything to do with dentists unless we have to. But you get in that situation where you've got a cavity and it hurts so bad, or that filling fell out and you've got to find a dentist, right? And that's how it is for most people. That's how it is. And we in this room, we represent the vanguard. We're the section of society that's always thinking about revolution. We dream about revolution every night and we work like hell for it every day. But we're a small section of society. But when the rest of society gets into a situation where things just can't get better, and those wages keep just going down, and the oppressive state just keeps coming down on us, all of a sudden they start looking for revolutionaries. When it is in people's material interest to keep believing something, they will believe it. Now, there's always a small minority of people like me and people like you that will question things, that will dig. But for most people, if their life is working out, if they've got a decent job, if things are kind of getting better in their life, they see progress, they're comfortable, they will try their hardest not to believe things that will go against the system they live under. It's only when life becomes unlivable, it's only when capitalism creates instability and chaos, it's only when living standards are declining, it's only when there is increasing chaos and instability in the world, and people are desperately looking for a solution, it's only then that the broad masses of people become open to revolutionary and socialist ideas. It's only when the pain is so extreme. I've told people that revolutionaries are a lot like dentists. You ever hear this? Revolutionaries are a lot like dentists. Right? There are some people in this world who love dentistry. Right? You ever see that old claymation movie, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or something like that? It's from the 70s, where the kid's like, I'm playing with the doll's teeth. I want to be a dentist. There are some people who, from the time they're very small, love dentistry. They love teeth. They love going to the dentist. They think teeth and dentistry is fascinating. But I am not one of those people, and I do not know many of those people. Very few people like dentistry. Most of us would prefer to stay away from the dentist. That's very much. But then you get that cavity. It's so bad. You have no choice, but you got to go find a dentist. That's the way communist revolution is for most people. Most people, you and I, sure, we talk about communism. We want a revolution. We study Marx. We're into communism. We want, a whole new society. Most people think, you know what, I've got my life. I just want to worry about my own stuff. I don't want to get in trouble. Look, the government told me, school told me, media told me it's bad. I don't want to think about this. That's the way most people are. They're just going to resist thinking about it. But then conditions will get so bad. There'll be hunger in the streets. There'll be instability in society. There'll be uprisings and rebellions among the masses. Even among the ruling class, there will be instability and chaos. And when a revolutionary situation ultimately arises, when things are so bad, they have no choice. They just like we find a dentist when we have that cavity that's so bad, they go and find a revolutionary. They go and find a revolutionary to solve the problem. Right? They don't do it because they want to. They don't do it because they're interested in it. They do it because the pain is so intense and they are so desperate. And here's the most important point about this. This is the most important point. You heard me going on about revolutionaries like dentists. I've said that before the point. Here's the most important point. When it gets that bad, when people are in so much pain that they have to go find a dentist, what kind of dentist do they go find? Do they go find a timid, oh, I'm just a moderate dentist. Don't worry, I'm not that into dentistry. I'm a normal guy. Don't worry, a radical dentist. No. When the pain is that intense, when you are suffering, you go and you find the most fanatical, the most extreme, the most dedicated, the most high-achieving dentist. When things get that bad and you're that much in pain, when your life could be on the line because of a tooth infection that could go up to your brain or something. I mean, if you are in that desperate, dire straits, where suddenly you got to go find somebody that's going to solve your problem, you are going to find the most fanatical, the most dedicated dentist you could ever find, right? You're not going to find a moderate. You're not going to find a softy. You're not going to find a kind of sort of dentist. You are going to try to find the best, most dedicated and fanatical dentist you can find to get that tooth out and to end your suffering. Just saying. So yes, sure. You can take a shortcut now. Go ahead, right? Go ahead and take a shortcut, right? Be a social democrat, be a moderate. Yeah, do what you want to do, right? You think, oh, people are going to get interested in socialism if we just tone it down. If we just tone it down enough, we'll get people interested in socialism. Don't say communist, say socialist. And let's denounce all the socialist countries. Let's tell them socialism's just an employee stock ownership program. No. People only become socialists and only become revolutionaries when the crisis becomes so intense that life becomes unlivable. And when that moment comes, when the revolutionary situation arises, and life is so intense that it's unlivable, and they are desperate for a solution, they don't turn to the softies, they don't turn to the moderates, they turn to the most fanatical forces available. They turn to forces that look like they are strong enough to take swift, dramatic action to resolve the crisis. That's who they turn to. When things are so bad that people turn to revolutionary solutions, they don't turn to moderates. They don't turn to weaklings. They don't turn to half-ass social democrats. They don't turn to Skippy the Bear and Jabba the Bosch. Instead, they turn to hardliners. They turn to tankies. Now, people on there are saying they become fascists. People only become fascists. People only become fascists when the left has failed. All right? Germany, 1919, they had a socialist revolution, right? The Kaiser was forced to step down, workers' assemblies sprung up, and the left, the Social Democrats, fell on their face. And all throughout the 1920s, the Social Democrats, they had all kinds of elected people, and they fell on their face. The German people only turned to the Nazis after the left had failed over and over and over again. All right? Same in Italy. Right? Mussolini only came to power after the Italian communists and leftists had failed and fallen on their face over and over and over again. And yes, in that situation that I'm describing, that situation of desperateness, when the pain becomes so intense, when people want a fanatical government to step in and resolve the crisis, if the left falls on its face, yes, they do go to the right. Yep, they do. Yeah. And by golly, if you want to make sure that the right comes into power, by all means, become a half-assed social democrat. Follow somebody who will fall on their face when the time comes. Do you think that, well, I'm not going to name names or talk about individuals anymore, but Think about the voices purporting to represent socialism these days. Do you think those people are going to lead the working people of this country to establish socialism in a time of crisis? When the American people are suffering and want strong leadership to resolve the crisis, to make their lives livable, when they turn to revolutionary politics out of desperation, do you think they're going to follow certain individuals? Just saying. So if you want to make sure that the fascists win, put your chips with the synthetic left. Nobody will make it happen more than they will. The weakling, you're a Nazbol, that left, they are the best friends that Nazis ever had, right? They are the best friends that Nazis ever had. The failing, the weak, pathetic, whiny, triggered, I want my safe space. You're transphobic. Shut up. That left, they are the best friends actual Nazis ever had. Because when a crisis comes, when a situation that could actually lead to socialism comes to the United States, people are going to be looking for a Hugo Chavez. People are going to be looking for a Fidel Castro. People are going to be looking for a Saddam Hussein. People are going to be looking for a Gaddafi. They're not going to be looking for, AOC. All right? They're not going to be looking for AOC. And that's just a reality. In a time of crisis, people don't want weaklings to lead them. Right? It's just a fact. And making leftism and socialism synonymous with weaklings is a great way to guarantee the right wings. Look, why did Donald Trump get elected as a right-wing strongman? Easy. Because in the language of a contemporary American politics, left-wing strongman is an oxymoron. The left is associated with weakness. The left is associated with this kind of like angry, childish, adolescent vengeance. We have made left-wing strongman an oxymoron. And so, of course, we get right-wing strongmen. And there are strong women, too. I mean, there's many great, strong revolutionary women leaders around the world. But no, when the left becomes synonymous with weakness, it becomes synonymous with just this kind of childish envy, whining, vengeance against people perceived as privileged. That's the best thing that could ever happen to the right.